Hi guys, welcome to another Divi Theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Well, we've got another great fun one for you today. We've got an image here. When I hover over, the image is going to swap, and we've got a little call to action button. Nice little feature, really easy to do, no coding involved in this today. We can do this all with the inbuilt features of the Divi theme itself. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the visual builder. Once enabled, let's go down to where we want to work. I've got a section here, the blue tab. Inside I've got a row with 2 columns in it. Let's work on this right hand column here, and we'll do kind of the opposite of what we had here. I'm going to hit the little dark button to add a new module. I'm actually going to use a call to action. The reason I'm not going to use a button for this today is we can't really add spacing around it. So I'm going to use a call to action module. And this is going to end up being the second image that's going to appear, and it's going to contain our button. Let's move this over to the side. I don't want a title. Obviously, if you want to keep yours, leave it there. Put in whatever you want to say here. That's what you want your button to say. You may notice there's no button up there, or you may not have noticed because there isn't one. Before the button's going to appear, you need to actually add a link just down below, but before that, I'm going to get rid of my content there because all I want on mine is the button. So I'm going to go down to the link. Once you put a button link in there, I'm just going to put a hashtag for a placeholder. You'll see the button turn up. If you want to link the whole module, you can do so right here. You can use the same link or a different link. Always best practice, if you're linking to your own site, leave it in the same window. If you're linking off-site, open it in a new tab. That way your site will still stay open. Great. Now here's where the fun part starts. We're going to replace this sort of aqua background here with an image. Still under the content tab. Go down to background. There's that aqua. You can delete it if you want to. Don't have to if you don't want to. The image will override it. I'm going to go to image. We've got color, gradient, background image, background video, background pattern, or background mask. I'm simply going to use an image. Okay, well, I'm going to do the opposite. This is the 2 we swapped to before, so let's put this one in for the one that we're going to have appear second with the button on it. And there it is right there. And obviously it's not really the shape and size that I want it to be. So we can fix that with a little bit of padding over in the design tab. So if we go down to spacing under the design tab, I'm going to use padding top and bottom, and you can use whatever you want. I'm going to use percentage for this, and I want my button in the lower half. So I'm going to say perhaps 60% padding at the top. As you can see, that's pushed that button down there. And to make it the same size as our one next door, we've got 5% at the bottom there. I want it the same size as my one next door, so let's just up it, say 7%. Now if you wanted your button at the top or in the middle, we could do half of that, 33.5, which would be half of that. And if we made them both the same, the button's in the middle. Of course, if you want it at the top, let's put 10% on the top, uncheck the chain, and put whatever it is you want on the bottom to make it whatever size you wanted there. But I'm happy with the way mine was before, so let's put it back to how it was, which was 60% on top. And I think it was 7% on the bottom. Fantastic. Great. Well, everything's where we want it there. I want to style this button to be a little more interesting. That's my generic one that I've got set up in my customizer, the purple with blue on hover there. So to fix that, still under the design tab, if we go up a little bit, we've got our button here. I'm going to use custom styles for the button. Button text color, that's absolutely fine. Button background, well, let's do the same as we did on the other one. I'm going to make it black, but I'm going to click on the field and bring the opacity, this variegated slider, down a bit so we can see some of it through there, some of the image through there. And when we hover over it, let's change the color perhaps. And this is common to all Divi modules. If you hover over the dark writing within a module, you'll see these little icons appear. If there's a little arrow, and there is in our case, we can set a hover state, which is a completely different color. I'm going to make it purple. That's absolutely fine. And just to add a bit more interest, I'm going to give it a 1 pix border. White's fine color wise. I'm going to make it rounded corners by giving it 30 pixels border radius. And I kind of want it a little bit wider than that. So if we roll down a bit, I'm not going to use a button on mine. When we hover over, there's a little button appears there. Or an icon I should say. I'm going to turn that one off. Now here we go, button padding. To make it wider, we just need to add some padding left and right. Let's add 45 pix and hit the chain, do both sides. Could even go a little higher. Let's do 55. And you may have noticed, because we've got the chain highlighted, it's done both of them together for us. Okay, well, I made it purple on hover. We're still in the hover state. Let's just flip it back to the regular state. Great. Okay, the image that we want to see initially is going to reside in the column itself. So we need to go into our row, green tab for the row. We're working on column 2 over here, column 1, column 2. I'm going to go down to background, go over to image again, and we'll choose the image that we want to see initially. When the page loads, this is the image that we want to see. Now we put that in there. Of course you can't see it because our other image is on the top. So let's make the magic happen. Once in here, if you want to use this on mobile and tablet versions, you can check it on those by going over to design. We'll go back to our spacing just in case we have to change something. And again, this is common to all Divi modules. If you roll over, once you get those icons up there, you'll see a little mobile phone icon. We can check it on tablet. Make sure we're looking at the right one there, which is this one. Just make sure you're happy with the shape or the aspect ratio of it, and we can check it on phone. There it is. They all look fine to me, but you can put different values in for each of these if you need to. If you adjust on tablet and mobile, once you launch, it's always important to check, because this is just a rough guide. It'll get you most of the way there, but you may need to adjust in the real world. Great, well, let's go back to desktop and we'll make our little hover effect happen. Okay, to do that, still in the design tab, we're going to close up spacing. We're going to go down to filters. And the one I want to use today is called opacity, which is kind of the amount you can see or see through it. And again, I'm going to hover over where it says opacity there, hit the little arrow. Desktop, I don't want to see this image and button at all, so I'm going to take this all the way to 0, and we've got our image that's sitting in our column there. But when they hover over it, hit the little hover arrow there, I want it to be fully visible so they can see the second image, and click on our little button there. Now the time it takes to get from image 1 to image 2 by default with Divi is 300 milliseconds, which is pretty quick, just under 1/3 of a second. I like to slow it down for a bit of drama. So to do that, we can go over to the Advanced tab, and this is always where you'll find transitions. Roll down, here's transitions. There's the default 300 milliseconds. I'm going to slow mine right down to maybe 1.5 seconds, 1500 milliseconds. And obviously that's up to you. And the speed curve I like to use for mine is ease in out. And that's all there is to it. We should be good to go now. Let's save our changes. We'll save the page changes. Save draft or publish if you're ready. Let's exit the Visual Builder. And there we have it. Here's the first image that I demoed for you. And we've done the opposite with the one that we've just created here. And it should take 1.5 seconds to fade in. Then we've got our little Learn More button that changes color when we hover over it. So there you go, guys. Here's how to do an image swap with link on hover. Really great effect to have on your site. If people are mousing around your desktop and this sort of thing happens, it tends to get their attention pretty quickly, which is what you want with a website. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie with System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.